Greetings, family, tribe. Thank you so much for being here today. And it is with great pleasure that our special guest today is Yaasika Qupid or Quist. And this sister entered my life last year at an Eden Rising event. It's for conscious couples. And she just has blasted my mind open in so many ways. And I'm just thrilled to have her here today to have this conversation and really see what's going to unfold and come to light for all of us. So I have a wonderful announcement to share with all of you too. Our 11/11 Unification Celebration website just launched yesterday. It's the landing page that will start sharing a little bit more information about what the event is and how you can be involved if you'd like to be involved, and just start collecting friends and families information so that we can share more with you as the website is being built. So that is unificationcelebration.com. And it's our 11th annual 11/11 gathering. So this year we're expanding the horizons and the vision to embody and bring in that 11/11 portal energy and raise the frequency of our planet together on a global level. So check out the website. You can get a little bit more about the intention of it, and looking forward to hearing from some of you. So I'd like to start today's call with a little visualization, meditation, and just kind of drop in. So if you can lay back or close your eyes, if you can't, it's okay. But let's just take some time to take some deep breaths together. Circular breathing in through the nose and out the mouth. And with each inhale, you want to feel your body fill up. Have the air come to every piece of your body and just bring that oxygen into every muscle, into every organ. Visualize your body filling with this deep breath of air. And as you exhale, surrender and release. Let go of any energies, technology, and what it took for you to get here. And just be in this present moment with your breath. And as we sit with our breath, let's start to visualize the universe and our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy spiraling through the universe. And just the expansiveness of that, the infinite possibilities that are within our universe. And just how absolutely massive it is. Visualize yourself floating through space right now. You're going by a planet or a moon or a star. And just feel the expansion and the breadth of how large that is. As we tap into this galactic energy, we can see and feel the vibration that occurs when everything is spinning. Our spinning Milky Way and galaxy moving through the universe, and the planets spinning, the sun is spinning, our moon is spinning. And just embody and feel the spin that is occurring in our universe. This spinning is the essence of life. Everything spins, from the macrocosm of the universe to the microcosm within our own body and our cells and molecules and atoms. Everything must spin. Just as the Sufi dance spins and emanates our galactic core and our solar system, you can feel this spin within your body. Just as the water drains down the drain, it's completely and utterly always turning infinitely. And through this movement of spinning, we can connect to source energy. We can connect to our creator consciousness. We can remember that we are part of the one, that we are all spinning together in this beautiful dance of life. And as you feel that your infinite being spinning in unison with other infinite beings, we are all a part of this consciousness web. And through our spinning, we can spin in and out of dimensions, in and out of different planes of existence, in and out of different timelines, feeling the infinite energy that holds for each of us, that we can be in multiple places at one time, that there is no time, no space, no thing keeping us separate, that we are all interconnected and combined and intertwined and spinning in this beautiful dance. Now imagine yourself as this light, this point of light within this infinite universe. It is the essence, the vibration, the frequency of who you truly are in that oneness. We're going to imagine this light, this infinite being of who you are, come straight down into your body. Feeling your crown chakra open up to this infinite light entering your body now. Feel it fill you as it moves through each chakra, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, sacral, down to your root. You are a channel of light now. This infinite light of oneness beaming straight through your body into Mothership Earth, grounding that energy into matter. When we remember that we are infinite beings of the one, our intuition grows, our light body grows, our energy and vibration rises. We can embody and manifest things quickly. We can command things to occur in our life, and it does. If we always remember that we are a part of the one, that every action you take, every movement you take, every word and thought that you have is part of the collective experience as well as your individual. It comes into a place of humbleness and love and compassion and peace for yourself and for others. This unity vibration that connects us all. If we think and speak and act from this place of oneness, then we do good in the world. We all volunteered to be here at this time, to bring our gifts forward and share them with Mothership Earth and our human family. The awakened ones are here to assist others in transmitting information to them that will help them remember their infinite beings. We are here to share these gifts. And as we awaken more within ourselves, these gifts are unlocked like codes that suddenly become present and evident and synchronicities begin to occur. Let us tap into the power that we have as infinite beings so that we may share that light with others and give them permission to awaken and share their light as well. There's a lot of shift going on in this world. And although some of it can be challenging, some of it is absolutely wonderful. And we are beginning to love this shift, knowing full well what the outcome of it will be. One united family, returning to our infinite beingness. Love, peace, harmony, unity, and abundance for all. With some more deep breaths, come back into your body in this present moment and feel that infinite being light within your entire mind, body, spirit. Feel that light emanate and expand out and away from you, encompassing you in your sphere of energy, your sovereign light bubble. And as we keep that clear and concise and open, we are here to receive this transmission together. You might want to move your body just for a moment, really come back into this present moment as you begin to open your eyes and be here with us now. Thank you. Blessed be. So shall it be. Wonderful. So it is with great pleasure to introduce Yaasika Qupid. And let's see, she wrote a little something I'm going to mention to you. So she's hailing from Twin Cities, Minneapolis, now living on the island of Maui. She's a healer, artist, mother, and conscious co-creator with a passion for creating life, purpose, and experiencing the great awakening of this planet. Yaasika is on a mission to serve, S-E-R-V-E, to see, embrace, respect, value, and empower humanity in impactful and loving ways. Her dream is to co-create and live in a world where we are all safe, to live life as unique and authentic expressions of who we are born to be, and that everyone knows that they matter and they have a purpose in life. So Yaasika, thank you so much for being here, dear. And is there anything you'd like to add before we launch into our conversation?
I just want to say thank you and for having me on this platform and sharing this space with me and inviting me here and allowing me to share my voice and my offerings. So with gratitude.
Wonderful. And indeed, it is a powerful voice. She is really has blown my mind open, as I said before, in so many ways. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with it today. So let's start with what we want to discuss and the title of the call, which was Loving This Shift. And can you speak to that and tell me what you want to embody in that way?
Yeah. So as you know, maybe some of you are aware, there's some changes going on. There's some shift happening around us. You know, after this great pause, it's given us time to all reflect collectively, something that has never happened before in this on this planet. So we really have this moment now to come into ourselves and come into our greater beingness and really reflect on what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I like? Did I like my job? Do I like my family? Do I like whatever that is? It's like going within and having that time to self to really just stop, because the entire world went on pause, and you know the distractions that we normally would go with our daily lives, getting our coffee, going to the movies, go to do work, go to whatever that is, all of it stopped. So having that time now to reflect and see who we really are, what we really want to do, what really moves us, motivates us, drives us to to do what we do every day. You know, so that, and then also the kind of galactic view of things is that the planet is going through a huge shift right now. You know, we're moving from a third dimensional space to a fourth and then fifth dimensional space, which to me is the consciousness and the oneness, and moving into that golden age, you know, that the song The Age of Aquarius that came, you know, back in the 60s, and that whole movement, you know, started, and now we're experiencing that. You know, I've heard my whole life, oh yeah, this is the greatest time to be alive, and I was like, it's great, but like, what do you mean? And then now we're going through what we're going through. I'm like, oh, this is what you were talking about. Okay, now you know, it's like I've waited some decades to figure it out, but now I'm like, okay, now I get it. Now I understand. So, you know, the shift in consciousness, the shift in perspective, the shift, you know, in the energies overall, and you know, and it's pulling up all the shifts, you know, and it's pulling up all of our collective darkness, all of our collective sadness, all the, you know, disparity and the differences, quote unquote, that have been, you know, separated. That's caused a separation, you know, and everything's coming to the surface for us to look at, you know, and on the macrocosm and the microcosm, you know. So what we're seeing in our society right now is also happening within each of us. You know, I can say that I've experienced too in my own world, just like, you know, old stuff coming up from the past that I thought I dealt with, and I guess I haven't. And, you know, having to go through that and having to shift myself and shift the way that I be, the way that I speak, the thoughts that I think, you know, and really going, like going for broke, really. It's just like, okay, it's time to come up and clear it out, and, you know, come back to this unity consciousness, and coming back to a space of loving thyself, and then loving our neighbors, and then our community, and, you know, the world at large. You know, there's, so the shift overall is literally from every little atom in our body to like everything that we see as reality. And it's huge. It's huge. And the best way to get through it is to be more loving overall. So that's why I love this shift.
Yes, indeed. And that's what we're here to do as humans. We are here to learn the lessons of love, to love, to be loved, to be loving, to be lovable, you know, and all the gamut of what that includes, the compassion and being kind and things like this. So you brought up separation and 3D dimension and moving into fourth and fifth dimension. Can we talk a little bit about separation and some of the stuff that's coming up to the surface?
Yeah, I would say, you know, like I wouldn't say we've all been tuned into the news, because I don't watch the mainstream media narrative because I don't buy it. In any case, we've been awakened to a lot of happenings, right? A lot of, you know, the racism, the classism, sexism, you know, all the isms are really coming up. And, you know, those isms are the things that have caused the divide in humanity. You know, we've put up fences and, you know, called it the American dream. Oh, I want my white picket fence with my 2.5 kids out in the suburbs away from other people. Like, don't come into my yard, you know. Meanwhile, like, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, or whatever that is, you know. So, you know, we've been culturally in this, like, go for me, go for mine, do for me, do for my family, you know, I've got to climb up to the top of the tower, and I've got to win, and I've got to produce, and I've got to go. And, you know, in all of that, you know, we don't see the magic that is, you know, around us. Not all of us, right? But many of us, you know, the greater population, general public, I guess I can speak about in that way. But it's like, we've just been so kind of pigeonholed into like do and get done and achieve that, you know, we forget, like, well, what about me? What is, you know, what do I like? What is it about me that makes me special? It's like, oh, it's me against you, us versus them, you know, competition and all of that. And that's created this separation. So we don't even know our neighbors for the most part. You know, there's some neighborhoods, yeah, you know, you might know your neighbors, you know, but generally, like, you don't know who lives next door to you. And you could be in a high-rise apartment building where like literally you're sharing a wall with people and you don't know who's on the other side of that wall, and so the culture has created this separation, this divide. It's like, hey, this person has brown skin, so they're this person has fair skin, so they're this person comes from here, so they're that. And it's we're dividing like as much as we can, little by little by little. Like, oh, now it's like, well, there's lesbians and gays and queers, and the list gets longer and longer. Meanwhile, it's like an aspect of all humanity, right? So we've been like compartmentalizing us as multidimensional humans. So like as a multidimensional being, we have so many parts and so expansive, and then like to try to put even one part of that in a box negates the other huge part of who we are. And we've been systematically created into these boxes. And so we don't know ourselves. Well, some do. But in general, like, people don't know themselves. They don't know their neighbors. They don't know, anything. They feeding this narrative of what's on TV or in movies, or, distraction, all of these things. And then now we find ourselves in this space where it's just like all of it's uprising. And now it's like, well, how can we be separate? Because now we're all, coming together, like through this division, coming together to see that, oh, actually, we're not really that different. Maybe our belief systems or the way that I carry myself might be a little bit different, but in Ebony and Ivory, I think it was, Paul McCartney, in one of the lyrics is like, every people are the same wherever you go. My travels, I've experienced the same thing. Like, we're different, but that doesn't mean that we need to be separate. Like, recently I heard someone say that diversity is the aphrodisiac of life, right? So it's like we get to experience that diversity, and as if we embrace it, we'll have this incredible experience. But if we're constantly dividing ourselves and then pitting ourselves against each other, then it's just going to be more of this unrest and challenge that we experience. So I think it's for us as light leaders and light beings to come and say, hey, enough is enough. I'm going to be that change. I'm going to heal my inner divide, my masculine and feminine energy, bring them in back into balance of that, like, yin yang symbol, if you will, and then go out from that balance space as much as possible to spread that light and that beingness out there, because that ripples, is going to affect everyone that comes into contact with it. If I'm acting as a whole being and looking at my exterior, like the people that I see as whole beings, then that's when the wholeness starts to come back and the divide and the separation ends, so to speak.
Love that. Yes. And as a mother, and you are as well, there's almost like a responsibility to teach the next generation and our children how they can stay within their infinite being energy. For instance, my son, he's very empathetic, and there's been times that I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, Cadence, I didn't mean to do that. And he'll say, it's okay, mommy, I did it when I was your mom. He remembers things. And I want to cultivate that in him, and I want him to be able to explore that and not be put into these compartmentalized, separated situations, which a lot of the schooling and there's various schools around the world, and yet when it comes to like public schooling, they're specifically made and programmed to teach you certain things. And of course, this is all, it's like censored history, it's white history, it's it's very laid out in a way that there's no room for diversity. So I guess my question to you would be, as a mom, what is your, what are you doing right now? What would you like to encourage other parents to do to allow your child to still be tapped into their infinite being, and to teach them about oneness rather than separation?
Well, that's a good question. The way that I am with my daughter, I encourage her to, I'll say that she's already like, I call her the ambassador of love and good times, because she will go up to anyone and just start talking to them, and hey, what are you doing, what is that, she's super curious, super friendly, and she actually teaches me a lot about the way to be with others. She's pulled me out of my shell in a lot of ways, of just like, like, I don't feel like talking over there, and it's like, but now I got to go over there to like get my kid, right? And then I end up talking to people, and then I like, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, like we have to connect, we have to just see people for people and be curious about what it is that, oh, what are you doing, oh, what are you eating, what are you, what's your name, do you want to play, can I pet your dog, just like creating that conversation. And so, and me growing up, it was very different than now. And what I can do for my daughter is nurture her gifts, nurture, like what you speak about your son is like, when he's, remembering something from a past life, and say, oh, you're just imagining, oh yeah, what's, like we can't do that. We say, hey, oh, tell me more about that. Oh, I was your mom, or you were my mom. Oh, when did, and asking those questions, and really getting curious and staying, I think being in a place of curiosity is really important, just across the board, especially with kids, because their imagination is so creative, and they're so still tapped into source, that it's like what we may even consider as imagination might not even be imagined. It might be actually real. Because we can't see it doesn't mean that we just say, kids will be kids. It's like, hey, how do I nurture that? How do I nurture my child's magic? And so as I've come into my own magic, I do my best to share that with her. So like sharing what we have as beings now, share everything with our kid. Like, I'll teach you everything that I know. Let's get magical. Let's light a candle. Let's say a prayer. Um, Whatever it is that drives me, share that with her, and then also being open to learn, from her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important to teach them the things that we weren't taught in school, because there are many things that are taught in school that are completely irrelevant once we leave school. And there's a whole gamut of things that weren't even taught in school that are so necessary, that we're like, nobody taught me how to like manage my money. Nobody taught me how to keep a house, or to whatever those, the daily life things. So to nurture that, nurture their magic, listen to them. Listening is key. Like, listen to our children. We don't know everything, right? Like, they're 3, what do they know? They've only been here 3 years. I've been here for, no, like, they are so tapped into the things that we've forgotten because we've been here so long, that like, tell me more about that. Sit down, would you like to have some tea and talk about this, little child person? Because like, what you have to say right now is really important to me, so just honor them as a human being, see them like, yes, they're a child, and honor that child. Also see them as a human being in the way that they have something to say, they have a voice to share, they've got their own thoughts, their own way of being, their own, way of speaking, and see them as, as a full human in a shorter stature, and like, clearly there's some things that, get to wait till later on, and, later in childhood and adulthood, and, be age appropriate, etc. But, share with them the things that you would want to know when you're young. They share the things that, maybe that you didn't get to do as a child, that it's like, that will nurture them, like instill more love and less fear, from when she was very young, you would lock up everything, make sure you put a gate up and plug all the outlets and do all the things, and, don't let them go near the stairs. And it's just like, why? Like, it's like, teach them how to climb the stairs and come down the stairs safely, so it's like, set your kid up to win by setting them up with things that will foster security and foster confidence and bravery and, fearlessness. Don't jump off the balcony with a towel, think it's the parachute. Like, don't do stupid stuff. But like, nurture them in the way that you would want to see your great grandchildren, because essentially we are the next generation of ancestors. You know, how do we want to treat this earth? How do we want to treat each other? How do we, you know, want to show up in this cosmic realm, you know, and teach them that, and teach them from that space of okay, this is oneness. They already don't see division. We're aware of division. So it's like, oh, okay, I know what not to teach. I know what not to say. You know, share with them the, you know, sorry, instead of saying sorry, say surprise, right? Like, you know, like there's times, okay, I apologize, etc. You know, but the languaging is really important, you know. So if we're, oh, sorry, 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 and then now they're got that sorry thing going on, you know, unnecessarily, right? Then that fosters that energy again of being sorry for being human. You
Right.
know, that's, you know, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to experience and here to thrive and here to expand our consciousness and our beingness. And when we share that with our kids, like, they're going to take it and run with it in a whole new way, you know. Just, I mean, just look at how much has changed since we were kids, right? And now imagine, you know, we're setting a solid foundation for the children to, in 20, 30, 40 years, to like rock, they'll be flying spaceships, you know. And it, like it blows my mind what is going to happen in the next realm, you know, of people. So remember that it's everything we do right now sets it up for the next 7+ generations. So act from that space and with that knowledge when we teach our kids things, relevant things,
Yeah.
empowering things.
Right. Well said, love. Well said. Yeah, and honestly, too, having a child has taught me to love unlike anything I've ever loved before. You know, I thought I loved my partner, and then I had my child, and it's just this deep, infinite. I would do anything for him to make sure that he's safe and healthy and happy. So, and he also reminds me to just play, right? It's like when we were children, we would play at the playground. We would have to learn how to get along with other people. And it's like that early socialization. And yet they're so open energetically that they're very inclusive at a young age until they get older. And then the separations start happening, the more programming that's coming in. So I find that when I spend time with him one-on-one and I'm not preoccupied with something else or in the middle of work and he has a need that needs to be fulfilled and we actually just have real playtime, it just reminds me again to just feel happy and laugh and giggle and run around and bounce on the trampoline. So children are wonderful reminders too, to just get out of the seriousness of life, and especially with all the shift that we're going through right now. So if you don't have a child, but you have somebody close to you that does, I highly encourage spending time with the kids right now because they're not in school. They need to learn from someone. I met a new friend at the Odyssey Convergence last year, and he said that his child, they're not going to be sending to school. They want a homeschooler, but they created in their tribe and their circle what they call ambassadors. And for instance, Amanda Sage was the ambassador of female, like a woman visionary artist for the daughter, and she will teach her how to paint. You know, so we all have these different talents and gifts that we can share with the children in our community. And of course, this will be much easier when we're living in community and not in those separate white picket fence houses that you spoke of before. So if you were to visualize what the new earth will be like, in essence, like as far as like building community and living with tribe again on common land, and sharing resources and sharing food and sharing the work of tending the land and having a garden and caring for children, what is your vision for that? What would you like to see?
I would like to see, you know, that age old it takes a village to raise a child, you know, and as a parent, it's so important. I love the ambassadors that you're talking about. It's like that's exactly what, you know, we need to have. So I imagine whether, you know, there will be some places where yes, there will be this like communal land where, you know, kind of we all get along and we all tend to the land and we all do our various, you know, skill sets and teach the kids those skill sets and, you know, nurture them and grow them to know how to grow their own food, know how to build a house, know how to build a fire, you know, the things that we did in order to get to the where we are now, minus all the fences, right? Unless they're deer fences because we're protecting our vegetables, right? But you know, to have a space where the children are safe, like that is number one out of everything, that the children are safe, that it's a world free of predators, you know, that the most vulnerable be protected and honored and held as sacred and held for their wisdom, like that. You know, the saying of children should be seen and not heard, you know, that goes away and goes like really in nurturing them and encouraging them, to have the women to reconnect with each other, the men to reconnect with each other, and even on like an emotional level. Like I would love in my imagining of the new world, that men get to connect with their emotion, that men get to hug each other again without stigma of, oh well, you know, that macho-ness can kind of dissolve, and you know, the men can be themselves, the women can be, you know, the nurturers, and also have the ability to build the houses too, you know, like to do whatever the person, individual person feels strongly and connected to, that each one of us get to express ourselves fully in whatever role, without, oh, you're a woman, you can't do that, or you're a man, you shouldn't do that, or you're a kid, sit down, you know. It's just like inclusion. Like there's a principle in Burning Man called radical inclusion. Like this is the basis. Like we all matter, we all are important, we all have something to give. There is a reason why we are here. Nobody is here just to like do nothing, no purpose, not to be here, you know. Like why are you here? Just like nature, right? Like every single plant, even every single mosquito, like though we don't necessarily like them, and you know, they have a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so knowing we all have a purpose, we all get to live into the purpose, we all get to honor each other's purpose, grow with each other, live in a way that honors the children, honors the elders, you know, takes care of one another.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you know, that like to me that's the utopia, and help and supporting those who, you know, if they go off track, or if they're, you know, sick, or if they're, you know, mentally challenged or unstable or whatever that is, that we work to help get them back into alignment with their true self, than just like, lock them up, put them away, you know. Like let's rehabilitate, you know, people so that they can live their fullest life, because nobody wants to be the outcast, nobody wants to be, you know, shunned from the community, or you know, locked up in a cage. That nobody wants that. Like not truly, nobody's like, oh, I'm gonna go to earth and I just want to be in a prison cell my whole life, that's gonna be great. Nobody says that, you know. So it's like, how do we take care of our people, you know? And it really starts with childhood, with children, because if we take care of our kids and raise them in a way that they're confident and loving and cooperative and supportive of each other and disciplined in a positive way, you know, that they grow up to be that kind of human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most important, is to make sure that our kids have a solid foundation, that they can grow up and be a solid human being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wonderful. Love that. Something that really came up during this time when we all had to be in our homes, as we were creating our garden and planting our orchards and our fruit trees and our nut trees, realizing that if we had some kind of way to share that. So for instance, our neighbors had eggs. They have chickens. And we were able to get eggs from them, and we would give them plant starts because they were in Mexico and they got back late and basically didn't have the garden starts that we had. So we were able to help them start their garden. And now we have an abundance of food in the garden, so much so that we can't eat it fast enough. So who can I give my lettuce to? Or, for instance, I love avocados that aren't quite ripe yet. And once they turn brown, they're not so good to me. But some people love it that way. And how can I give it to them? So when I was in Bali in September last year, if I had food in the fridge that I knew I wasn't going to eat by the time I was leaving, I went out into the village and I gave food away. There was construction workers across the way, and I sliced up watermelon. I brought out a plate of watermelon because there's people around us that we can share with. There's people around us that you can buy the barrel of rice, and each person can come and get their own bag from it. And it not only is more cost effective, but there's no waste because it's always a symbiotic relationship, you know. And even our compost and our chickens, our kitchen scraps go out to our chickens now. So being able to, for me, what I'd like to see is being able to live in community and thrive with people rather than in these individual nuclear family homes where we can share with each other and we can share resources and food. We can share, you know, responsibilities as far as like watching the children and educating them and spending time with them. So that you said earlier that, you know, it takes a tribe, takes a village to raise a child. Well, it also takes a village to raise a couple, you know. And when you're in partnership with somebody, especially when you have children, you need that alone time. You need some time to yourself. And because of what occurred and all of us have had to stay home, so many of us haven't had that assistance from our family or our friends because we've needed to distance ourselves. So part of this shift that's occurring was triggered and initiated by us all needing to stay home during this time. You know, the separation, the going out and having to wear a mask and you can't see people's facial expressions, or you can't tell who it is unless they speak to you, and just strangers just like looking at you, and you know, like you could feel eyes on you, and yet you don't know what they're thinking because you can't see their face. It causes more separation. So one of the visions and the missions that is really coming through for me right now is to really learn and discover who our dream team is. Who are these people that we want to surround ourselves with daily and be immersed in life together with, you know? And as we move from 3D into 5D reality, that is going to be very apparent because we're going to be more into our light bodies and vibrating, and we can pick up on people's frequencies. Several people are already intuitive and can do that. A lot of healers and medicine people can really know somebody's intention or energy by reading them. And with the masks and things, it's hard to read people in that way. So it's causing even more separation. So I'm not sure what I'm asking here, but I feel like there's something in there that you could just respond to, and we'll go from there. And thank you, Levy.
Well, you know, to speak to the when you were talking about food, right? Of how, you know, you grow in the garden and you're sharing, like that is the original way that we as people used to share with each other, right? So, you know, if I've got an overabundance of mangoes, which I do, you know, like this is how I get to know my neighbors. Knock, knock, hey, I got a bunch of mangoes, you know, my name is Yaasika, I live next door, nice to meet you, you know, like here's some mangoes and some papayas, you know, and they might say, hey, you know what, I got some potatoes, you know, and you know, everybody, it's think about this when you have a party, right? Where does everybody tend to gather? Around the kitchen, right? In the kitchen, because there's the food, everyone gathers around food. It's something that we all need to sustain ourselves, right? So in the same way that we share the wealth by, I have an overabundance, my family's cool, we don't need another mango because we have 8 mangoes right now that need to be put in smoothies. So let me go and meet my neighbors. Let me go connect with everyone else in my neighborhood so that I can, share the wealth and share what I have. And, I might meet someone who's like, oh yeah, well, if you ever need a carpenter, let me know. It's like, oh my God, we're like building a new deck. Yeah, that would be great, And so we get to trade, our gifts, and share. And then, they might become our next lifelong friend because we brought over what we have in our garden. So it's like not being afraid anymore to just, oh well, I guess, here's more for the compost. It's like, well, what about, your neighbors you haven't met yet? Remember there was a time in life where we used to bring new neighbors a plate of cookies or a little cake that we made and welcome them to the neighborhood. And it's the it starts with us, right? We be the change that we want to see in the world. So, if we want more sharing, we get to share more. If we want more, connections with others, we get to connect more. We get to be that, to start that. And, that's really where my acronym comes from, is to see, embrace, reflect, value, and empower. Is so, the people that I see, I embrace them, I reflect them, like the namaste, the light in me sees the light in you. And then to value them. You are a valuable person. You matter to me and you matter to Earth because we need you right now. And then to empower them to go after what it is that drives their soul, and to walk in this life of service and to serve others, not servant, right? Like, oh, then just treat me however. No, I'm here to serve. I'm here to support humanity in every way I can. And I want you to thrive. I want the whole collective to thrive. I want to thrive. That's the basis of my service, and my intention is that we all get to thrive. And in order to do so, we need each other. Like there's a reason why 8 hugs a day is recommended, because we need that. Like it releases oxytocin in our body and makes us feel better, and this social distancing, oh no, like I want to make a t-shirt that says "Make America Hug Again." You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we need that connection with each other. We weren't born, I mean, we were born, yes, singly, maybe some of us are twins or triplets, either way, but we're still like in our individual vessel. We're born alone. That doesn't mean we need to live alone and die alone. We're born here with all these other people so we can connect with them and learn from them and receive from them, and we can give to them and they can receive from us and they can learn from us, because every single person is a mirror of something inside of us, so as source gets to know itself through our each individual experiences, we also get to learn more about ourselves through other people's experiences. Me listening to your story, Candace, or anyone else's of my friends or family or out in my community or society, if I learn their story, I learn more about the human experience. I learn more about what it's like to be in a certain body type or a certain mind state or a certain part of the world that I wouldn't normally get to know if I didn't live it myself. And even if I did live right next door to that person, they're still gonna have a different experience than me. So it's like opening up ourselves to sharing, yes, our bounty of, the physical kind, as far as, fruits and vegetables and, wealth and information, and also like getting to share the bounty of who we are as beings and connecting with each other as beings. Because at the end of the day, the things that we remember, on our deathbed or somebody who passed, is the relationship that we had with them. It's do you want to be remembered to be a millionaire, or do you want to be remembered because you touched a million lives? Because if there's, the one thing that we all desire is to have connection, and that is really what we get to foster by showing up every day who we are and what we believe, and including others, even if their belief systems or ideals or whatever are different than ours. It's like, and yes, your belief system is different, and I still embrace you, because that diversity is absolutely necessary. So while I don't know that I answered a question, that's also like, I think in alignment, because it's
Yeah.
that's really part of that bigger dream is to just wake people up to like, oh yeah, that's right, we all matter, we're all important, we have to treat each other well, because I want to be treated well, so I'm going to treat someone else well, you know, and I'm sure that they want to be treated well, you know, because that's just the nature of human beings, you know. We don't want to be shunned and put out, outcast and unloved,
Right.
you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, I don't have a question. It's just a conversation, right? Yeah. We all just want to be loved. We want to have that connection, right? And in the state of the world and where it's at and what's going on in the news and everything, what is there some wise words? And I know you have them, but what are your wise words for those who are caught in fear, separation, hatred, anger, um, projecting on other people? They're just kind of on the a downward spiral. And I understand things are bubbling to the surface as things become more clear to more people. And I'd like to hear what you have to offer and what you have to serve to those who are lost and in the rigmarole of everything that's occurring and can't find a way out. Like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? Thank you.
I would say to that, one, remember to breathe, because that is the essence of our life right now. Like, we have to breathe, and take a moment of pause. Breath helps to calm. Like, just take a deep breath, start there, you know, like, so because when we're all frazzled and we're all over the place and it's just like and recenter, you know. It really comes down to, okay, we need to turn off the exterior, you know, and really come back to our center, come back to the present moment, come back to the breath, ground our feet into the earth as much as possible, and pause. And from that pause space, if we truly allow ourselves to pause, and if we truly allow ourselves to take that deep breath and that moment, there's a even sometimes minuscule piece of calm that we can access. And if we can access that calm and then continue that breath, look at our surroundings. I mean, if we're in a place like, oh, I'm in my house, for example, and I'm, you know, mad about something I heard or something my family said or did, or what's going on in the state of the world, taking that breath, grounding, becoming present, and realizing, okay, but I'm safe right now. Wherever I am, I'm safe right now. And knowing that all we have is the present moment, and all we have is our breath in any moment. And we have in this moment an abundance of choice. And we can choose to go back down that anger path, right? And feel that tension and that tightness and that restriction and that, you know, anger, whatever that is, or we can choose something different. Choose, okay, I see that I'm really triggered by this thing. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to look at this flower right now. I'm going to look at its petals. I'm going to look at the stem. I'm going to look at the grass. You know, just like distract yourself with nature or something else, something we find beautiful, something that we love, whether it's our child or a painting or a memory of a grandparent or whatever that is. Like, stop, breathe, ground, center, turn immediately to something that we find beauty in, and focus on that until that energy, that discord, that disharmony, whatever, passes momentarily, because it will pass, because this too shall pass. If we give ourselves that time, it will pass. And when we come to that calm space, recognize that we can make a different choice. We can choose a different perspective. on what's happening. Yes, there's injustice, and no, it's not okay. And instead of being upset and just like, ah, fuck this, rah, I'm just gonna rage about it, maybe that calm can be, what can I do? How can I support the change? How can I support to make this better overall?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So accessing that choice point from a space of groundedness and a space of centeredness and a space of calm, and now walking in that direction. And it's not easy for everyone. It does take practice, and but we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So just start with that breath, come back to the present moment, get out of our past, get out of our future, and just come back to the now. Mm-hmm. Acknowledge what's happening. Mm-hmm. Try to be neutral in the time and space. Kind of take a step back, breathe, make a different choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love that. That is exactly what we have. We have choice, and then choice, and then choice. That is our life path, right? And earlier you mentioned how everybody has a purpose. Yes, we're all here for a purpose. And some can feel lost or wrapped up in the fear and all of these things because they haven't discovered their purpose yet. And part of what occurred and all of us needing to stay home for some time was that people no longer had to go to a job that they didn't like or have to get up and kiss their children and not see them again until late at night. People got to spend time with their family and be at home and actually really start discovering what they enjoy, what they like, what they're passionate about, what they're excited about. And it is part of my wish and prayer for the planet is that not everybody just runs back out and goes right back to where they were, or the job that they didn't like, or just is in misery because they're not getting enough sleep, or they're not eating well, or they're just in traffic hours a day. So this time really has felt like so many people opened up energetically to what it is they're here to enjoy and what it is they're here to accomplish, to gift to the world. So when you say you work with people on discovering their purpose, can you speak to that a little bit more, and how it's just so in alignment with what is just occurring for all of us as a collective? Yeah.
Well, what I like to do, because I went through this version for myself, right? It's like, well, what am I here to do? I don't know what that is. And I would say, one, if we don't know, right, come out of the space. I don't know, because being in that space is you get stuck in the space. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would like to know my purpose. What is it? What do I like to do? And that's where curiosity is such key to finding anything, really. So having the curiosity to explore ourselves, to explore our interests, to explore what lives us, what that fire is. A lot of the things that we enjoyed as children, whether we got to do them or not, but maybe we secretly enjoyed, usually have something to do with our purpose. Usually it has something to do with what we're called to do. And also some of that changes. Some of it, like the things that we do as kids that we really like, might end up being a hobby, and we might have a whole new purpose. But staying in a space of curiosity, staying in a space of experimentation and exploration can really help us to find the direction in which we might stumble upon something that we're like, oh my God, this is it. I love this so much. Like, I didn't even know this existed. Had I not gone this way that I didn't even think I would go, I found this really beautiful treasure, and it's really just key to stay in a space of curiosity, because getting stuck in I don't know creates then anxiety, and then it's like, oh, but I don't know my purpose, and then maybe I don't have one, and then just it creates a whole other kind of it really kind of pulls us away from the thing that we're wanting to so much go and find, right? And sometimes our purpose is simply to be here, to experience and learn from our environment, from the people around. Many of us have had really traumatic experiences through our lives. We've, I mean, some things that have been completely unspeakable and still survive through that and still move through that. And then the purpose on the other end of that is maybe to support someone else who's gone through that, to really, lead others out of their darkness, out of their, misery, out of their oppression, whatever that is, because going through it, someone can have that awareness of what it's like and like how to get out. So we're not all meant to have this like beautiful, shiny unicorn rainbow life where it's just like, yeah, everything's great. And like, I never have problems. Like that would be so boring, like what would we learn, right? But even in the deepest, darkest tragedies, there is purpose in that. There is reason for that. There is learning for that, because our soul has come here to learn, and our soul has come here to express itself. And with that learning and with that expression, we can support other souls in their awakening, in their self-expression, in their drive and purpose and beauty. So, everyone's purpose is completely unique to them, of course, and it can be triggered, and you might not know it, from when you were a kid, or even in your 40s, or even in your 60s. Your purpose might not be until you're 75, living in Florida, working on a farm because for whatever reason you're still working, and then you like come across this wounded horse that you find so passionate about, and then you just like find you're this energy healer for like equestrians. Like, I mean, we don't know. It could just, like not everybody knows throughout their whole life. Some people born like, I knew I was supposed to be a great musician and, rock star my whole life, or whatever that is. Some people know that. I came to mine, I'm still coming to it. Like it's continually unfolding. Like this lotus behind me, it's just like unfolding more and more and more. It's like, oh, I think this, and then and then there's more, And so it's an ever expanding, and sometimes our purpose shifts. It might be something that, is this for the first part of our life, and then evolves into something else, because our soul has grown, our achievement unlocked, so to speak, and then move into the next phase of that, and like guiding people through that way of experience to learn something new about themselves, or learn something new about life in general. So for me, finding purpose starts with curiosity, experimenting, and exploring.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. So good. I can't seem to find Spotlight again. What's going on?
Right now.
Here we go. Sorry about that. Technical difficulty for a moment. Oh, so wonderful. Yeah, and it's like each chapter of your life can have a certain purpose too, and then you have this over encompassing purpose that kind of embodies all of the chapters of your life. For instance, I'm moving from a chapter of life where for about 20 years I taught hoop dance and was a performer and a fire dancer and circus artist, and taught people how to utilize the hula hoop and the kundalini energy and awakening that spiral energy in their body to clear their mind, become more embodied in their body, to uplift their spirit, feel like a kid again, and taught at retreats and various places around the world. And it was such a blessing to do that and be really physical, and I really truly enjoyed that. And now I've had a series of injuries in my body where I just can't quite do that the way that I used to. And again, I'm getting older as well, right? As we go through this timeline. So the next chapter is opening for me. And as you said with the lotus, it's just opening there's more and more layers to be seen, and it's just so beautiful. I call it the crown chakra is the thousandfold lotus, right? Because it's just continuous and infinite. So, feeling really blessed to hear the call, to listen to my intuition and understand a little more with more clarity what it is that I'm supposed to be moving forward and doing. And hence these Anistara messages calls and our unification celebration, celebrating 11/11 and unity around the world. These visions come to me and I just write them down, and then some of them I take action on and others I don't. But the ones that I'm taking action on right now are very fulfilling. So I wish and pray for everyone to find what it is that fulfills you in your life and allows you to feel happy. You know, fulfillment really doesn't have to be financial fulfillment or prosperity or anything like that. When I say abundance for all, I mean abundance of food and clean water and feeling safe, that safety, yes. So is there anything else that you want to share with us to kind of close out this conversation? And then please let us know how to contact you, maybe your website, your Facebook page. And I know that you do see private clients via Zoom and online. So share a little bit of that with us too. Thanks.
Thank you. So one thing actually with that just came through again with the purpose is, even if we don't know what it is, know that it is. Know that we have a purpose. So if we aren't aware of it at the time, just know, okay, I have a purpose and I get to discover it.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the last thing I'd really like to share is be really conscious with what we say and how and the thoughts that come through our head. What we speak becomes. And
Mm-hmm.
when we say things, oh, I can't wait for blah blah blah, it's like, well, we're negating all the time between now and the thing that we can't wait for, that we're out of presence
Mm-hmm.
for that entire time. So we miss a whole lot of potential and magic, and it takes us out of the moment, say, oh, I'm really excited for this thing or that. So we can still enjoy the moments leading up to that thing. Oh, I don't want this and I don't want that is calling in more of that thing, whether it's wanted or unwanted. Like, how we speak will determine exactly what we experience. So if our life right now is not ideal or the way that we want it to be, think about what it is that we've been saying about it. How have you been talking to yourself? How have you been talking about your life? How have you been talking about what you have or what you don't have? The more it comes from a space of not having. So if we're speaking on I don't have, then we're not going to have, we're not going to have, we're not going to have. But if we come from a space, oh, I really like, or I I would love to experience, these kinds of things, or this would be really, those are ways to call in what it is that we are wanting to have, the experiences that we're choosing into. Remembering that we always have a choice in every moment. Like, that is the one thing that we all have no matter what. And even if, okay, I don't have a choice right now, quote unquote, I don't have a choice in, living at my parents' house because I'm a kid, I have a choice in the way that I think about it. I have a choice in the way that I perceive it. So no matter what, we always have a choice, and fundamentally at the space of the way that we view and experience things, So being empowered in that choice, being empowered in that in the way that we think, the way that we speak, the things that we do and how we act, and knowing that who we are is important, what we are is important. We all have a unique gift, and it's so, so, so valuable to humanity at large. Even if it's in your own neighborhood at the end of your cul-de-sac, you are so important right where you are, right as you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the last I guess meat of my message. And you can find me on Vibrate Higher, VIBR8 Higher, HIGHER.com. That's my website. And I don't really Facebook, so I do message through Facebook, but my Facebook is Yaasika Qupid, Qupid. If you go to facebook.com/the golden child, you'll find my page and I can be contacted through Messenger. Um, Also, my Instagram is at the golden child, all one word. And yeah, so my main right now is my website, and uh, I think I can easily be found. So much for having me on here. This is really awesome.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, sister. I really appreciate you. Feeling very, very blessed right now. And I hope all of you are as well. And another piece is gratitude, really just having gratitude for what you do have,
Yes.
right? When we think about our desires and our wants and our purpose, like embody it and be grateful for it like you already have it, like you've already received it. Like the law of attraction. So,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very, very important and key piece. Yes.
totally. Oh, thank you so much, Yaasika. I really appreciate having you again. And blessed be, sister.
Thank you, Candace. I really appreciate you. Aloha. Aloha, everyone.
Yeah, and next Wednesday, I actually am going to be a special guest on Marka Body's show. It's called Inspirational Community Collaboration. It's a live show every weekday, and Marka Body is a wellness wizard. So keep an eye out for some promo material around that. I'm really excited. We'll have a whole hour where he gets to chat with me, just as I did with you, Yaska. And again, if you're interested in finding out more about our unificationcelebration.com, our 11th annual 11/11 gathering, it's going global this year. So I'm very excited to see the dream team that will about to be assembled for it. And I'll see you next week on Anistara's Messages every Thursday at 6 p.m. Blessed be. Thank you, everyone.